been protest action at the Diepkloof hostel, as you would have seen. Of course, we've covered it extensively here on the SABC, and this put the spotlight once again on the living conditions at hostels. The Gauteng province setting aside 300 million rand to improve hostels across the province. But what does this look like? Let's speak to someone who can shed more light on this. Prince Africa Zulu, AmaZulu King spokesperson joins us live now. Thank you so much, Dabezita, for your time. You were, of course, part of those meetings, and the King was meeting with the Premier of Gauteng. There have been a lot of concerns around what's going on with hostels, particularly in the Gauteng province. What were some of the priority areas for the King going into this meeting with the Premier?
Mangethi umhlangano wesilo noNdunankulu ubaba umhlonishwa uBanyaza ube umhlangano onemphumela emihle ngoba bobabili babe nokuvumelana ngokubaleka ukuprioritize kwama hostel. Inhlalo yasema hostel ngicathi ngoba sasonke ukuthi ayinhlanga. Uprima uye washare istrategy sakhe sokwakha amathuba emisebenzi ehostel. Was also waphinde wabekela nengonyama nohlelo lwakhe lwamaphoyisa lana anciphisa ubugebengu. Wayeseqizelela ukuthi amaphoyisa azo uzakwazi ukuthi ayosiza nazo zonke indawo eyizinto zama hostel. Inkinga ayibhekana ama hostel ziningi, ziqala kwizakhiwo kuye futhi nasekuphepheni nje kwabahlali basema hostel, ngoba sazi ukuthi kunokubulawa kwenduna ema hostel, kunebulawa kwabahlali ema hostel. Bese futhi kuba inkinga ye-unemployment le ukuthi nje imisebenzi ema hostel ayikho. Ngakho ke uPrima uke waqinisekisa ukuthi unohlelo lama-tuck shop amobile abawenzayo abazokwazi ukuthi be-identify ngabo abantu abathile bekwazi ukuba empowerisha. Okwesibili akushilo ukuthi uzozama ukuthi kulolu hlelo ka-300 million akube khona indlela ukuthi abantu bangaphakathi ema-hostel bebambe iqhaza ngathi kwakhiwa lezi zindlu. Ungathathwa nje inkampani yasesentini, akukhulunywe ngaphakathi inkampani incorporate ngaphakathi inkampani ezokwazi ukuthi zibambe leli iqhaza ekutheni abantu basema-hostel bakhe izakhiwo zabo. Lokhu kuzokwenza umnotho wasema-hostel ukhule, ngoba sikhuluma nge-hostel economy ehambisana ne-rural economy futhi incike ekutheni nakuyona i-township economy. Kodwa konke lokhu umnotho ungakhuli ezansi akuzukuba khona lutho.
Okay, some of what is said there is that the Premier was shedding light on the strategy and presented what it would be looking like. And this, of course, a strategy around the refurbishment of hostels. There's also a strategy around crime issues that we've seen at these particular hostels as well, and the killing of Izinduna there, and also addressing the issue of dilapidating structures, as you would have seen here on the channel as well. There's also going to be some mobile tuck shops that are also going to be trying to alleviate some of the poverty issues there, and also ensuring that in the 300 million rand, some of the hostel dwellers get to be part of the development there in order to try and improve and really give birth to what is now seen as the hostel economy, and juxtaposing it, of course, with the rural economy. The other thing, of course, is that the fact that abantu bayakhala ukuthi bona ababegwa phambili makuza intuthuko, especially when it comes to ama-consultation processes. Iy'nduna zizobekwa phambili ukuthi nazo zikwazi ukuthi zibambe iqhaza zisho ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Yes, I think it's very important ukuthi we prioritize the consultation of the residents, because it's part also of their rights as indigenous South Africans. So the democratic process has not been that democratic in the past years, but I think it's a new system that we are all learning. But we are seeing improvement. We are seeing improvement. We are seeing commitment on the government that their heart is in a good place. It's very clear that their heart is in a good place. But I also want to make this remark. people must not get it twisted. When we have these complaints about the hostels, these problems were problems not of the government of today. These are problems that were actually spearheaded by the apartheid government, because it was the economics of that time. It was the looting plan. They were able to loot the economy of this country through these hostel plans. Now today, that people forget that it's not this government that has created this problem. So it doesn't surprise us why this government will struggle to find a solution to deal with the hostels, because they didn't introduce the hostels.
Yeah.
They were not the legacy of the government. However, we are appreciating all the effort that are shown by this government of today, of the day, to say they are committed to solving the problem of their own people. I think that is very generous. And I think that we should appreciate those efforts. And it's a matter of making sure that these officials that have been assigned to do their jobs, they really get to do their jobs, because you find that there is a will at the executive level, but the officials, they are just doing things in their own way. And we just can't keep on sort of blaming the government, because the government is the face of today's age. But you must not forget who made this problem.
Pardon me for coming in there, but talking about the legacy issues when it comes to hostels, and as you say, of course, some of these predate the government of the day, but we're seeing politics also becoming the legacy of the hostels, and some of the dwellers themselves saying that this is at the heart of why there is no development there. How then does the Premier manage, to talk about this, and even the King, how do they get around this issue of the politicization?
I'm glad we asked that question, because Premier and His Majesty hold their position. They represent all the citizens of South Africa. That is why we have a democratic process through the IEC, where all of us, we engage in a process of choosing our political parties. But once we are for the sitting government, you therefore step aside and you start treating the locals as the residents. So I think it's clear that this government is committed to serving all the people, regardless of their political affiliations. However, we are still struggling in the hostels with the residents, understanding that they should not involve the government in their petty fights over their political parties, which party they prefer. They really make it very hard for our government to provide the service, because sometimes you find that our government is chased away in the hostels because certain political parties are dominating that particular territory. So it has become sort of like a survival territory for political expediency for those people who want to run their own political agenda. However, I am in negotiations with the hostel leaders in Dona Zikazulu to say, you are making it very hard for the government to help you or find solutions. Because on top of that, remember that these problems, they were not caused by the government. Now, if we are aiding and complicating the situation, that the government cannot find you, because you now pose as neatly embassies of political parties. The government cannot save its political parties, because the mandate of the government is on its citizens, its people. So we are persuading our people to refrain from putting pictures of leaders in the walls, and especially in their meetings, they will put the flags of those political parties, and they do it for all their parties, So it's one of the problems that has created this political instability that we see in hostels, this whole violence that we see in hostels. But we are praying that we all pull together and we all appreciate that we all are citizens of South Africa. We have an obligation to build this country and bring about prosperity and allow South Africa to prosper, and without leaving its citizens on the ground behind.
All right, let's see then what unfolds from this process, as we'll continue then to monitor developments there. But do thank you for your time. That is Prince Africa Zulu, AmaZulu King's spokesperson.